My book, The Game Changer, man. 8 tips for men to find peace. Right here, man. I'm the best in the business. You know what I'm saying? Concrete Genius Pod, man. Follow me on all socials. It's your boy, Sauce Mackenzie. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you rocking with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who rocking with me, who not. You know what I'm saying? But whoever it is, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Concrete Genius Pod. Follow me on all socials. Welcome to the podcast. It's a beautiful Sunday, man. So I'm not gonna keep y'all time too long because some great football going on, you know what I mean? Great things going on, football game, Buffalo Bills, shit like that, the Bills playing. So we just want to get to it, get it cracking, right? And I want to have a moment of silence for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, by far, got to be the most heartbreaking franchise I've ever seen in my lifetime, right? I mean, other than maybe O.J. Simpson running for 2,000 yards with the electric company, all you see is heartbreak with Buffalo. I don't care if it's Scott Norwood, bro. I don't care if it's Josh Allen. Other than the Frank Wright 35-3 comeback, you don't see nothing from Buffalo but heartbreak. Like, just constant disappointment. Is it going to be our year? Is it this year? Never mind the fact you got to live in Buffalo, literally, right? Which is basically the North Pole of America. But then just to get your heart broke every year. These folks constantly go to the stadium, jump in the tables, spray themselves with mustard, come outside shirtless when it's -7. Like, the entire identity, with the exception of Rick James and Griselda, is the Buffalo Bills, right? So I can imagine the heartbreak that these people go through. And I was rooting for y'all yesterday, right? I literally had my money on Buffalo because I said Josh Allen knows experiences. Those other 6 times you've been to the playoffs, 6, 7, however many times you've been to the playoffs, got to pull you through. No Patrick, no Lamar, no Joe Burrow. It's got to be your year, right? And then it happened, right? The heartbreak happened. The inevitable happened. Just a crushing defeat in overtime, 33-30 at the hands of the Broncos, right? But this is my plea to the national media, right? Especially the segment of white media that sees themselves in Josh Allen, right? I don't mind white analysts or white fans having a white hero, right? Let me get that out the way, right? I don't mind a person rooting for someone that looks like them or someone they have an attachment with, even if they go overboard and feel like he's the best. I relate to that, right? It's no different than me watching Tim Brown as a kid and relating to him, or watching Warren Moon and relating to him because he was one of the few great black quarterbacks. So I don't mind white men, white people clinging to the hope of Josh Allen as Superman. I encourage that enthusiasm, right? But can we please stop treating him like a fucking Make-A-Wish kid, right? He is a grown, competent, successful athlete, extremely talented, right? The problem is that so many men see themselves or see any hope of competency. I think he's the most relatable white quarterback in the NFL, the most talented, relatable white quarterback in the NFL. And he didn't ask for none of this. So I'm not making this a race issue. I'm just talking about race, right? Because as a football fan, you have to be smart enough to understand that that's not Josh Allen's fault, that he's got a lot of dweebs who overhype his ability or make excuses for him constantly, right? So it's a fine balance to say, hey, I still like the player. I think he's good. I don't care what race he was. I think he's a very talented, he's a very passionate young man, he's made himself into a phenomenal quarterback, right? All that I can give to him. I enjoy watching them play. Again, I bet with the Bills, right? But the average blogger loves them. The average white podcaster loves him. The average white reporter loves him, right? He is the most beloved white athlete since Larry Bird, in my opinion, without the accomplishments, right? Yet. So football fans and reporters and media get so overblown in their urge to baby him and protect him that they instantly create backlash, right? And then they have no problem with the hypocrisy. Lamar Jackson can have 2 turnovers and they can say his turnovers are the reason they lost the game, even though Mark Andrews literally dropped the pass at the goal line to tie the game up. Josh Allen can have ridiculously amateur hour turnovers and they can say, well, forget about the turnovers. See, that's the hypocrisy that upsets people who are not Josh Allen fanboys, right? You can't be a biased reporter and let your fandom disrupt the truth. The truth is Josh Allen played bad yesterday. It's fine. Allow Josh Allen to fight his demons like all the other great quarterbacks have. Peyton Manning had to fight demons, man. I seen New England whoop his ass for years, right? The year we thought we was going to get away, the Pittsburgh Steelers smacked him upside the head, right? He had to fight his demons and beat the New England Patriots, right? Same thing with John Elway. John Elway went to the Super Bowl and got demolished back to back. The 49ers one year, I know the 49ers beat him in 90. I can't remember who beat him in 89, but I know he got demolished, right? Forgive my brain, not my heart. I know he got demolished, right? John Elway had to fight his demons. Brett Favre had to fight his demons. Most great quarterbacks have to overcome demons to win. Even Pat Mahomes, as great as he is and as great as his run was, he had to fight a couple of demons, right? So why are we trying to pacify Josh Allen as opposed to saying, I'm confident he'll win one? You know, the people who I've seen confident that he'll win one has mostly been the female reporters that support Buffalo. The female reporters actually have been showing more testosterone than Josh Allen fans. Josh Allen fans have to be the whiniest group of bitches on the internet, bro. Like, Josh Allen is not your white savior, right? Don't bring your identity politics to football. And if you say, well, you support Lamar Jackson, you root for him because he's black. Yeah, but if he plays bad, I'm going to tell you about it. If Shador plays bad, I'm going to tell you about it, right? If Jalen Hurts plays bad, I'm going to tell you about it, right? I'm just going to tell you about it. Like, I think you can root for someone and you can identify with someone, but you have to be grounded enough to admit that that person played bad, right? And I got a question for some sports writers. What makes Josh Allen a superior quarterback to Cam Newton? Right? To me, they're so similar that it's almost eerie, right? I just think that Josh Allen appeals to the majority of the country, which is white men, right? I don't think it's a problem to make the comparison. I think they're very similar. I think they're tough. They're durable. I think they've both been failed by their organizations, by the talent put around them. I think they both suffer from I'm not going to call it incompetent coaching, but not superior coaching, right? This is my analogy, Cam Newton, Josh Allen. Cam Newton willed the team to the Super Bowl, had an opportunity, didn't take the opportunity. Cam Newton got killed for not jumping on a fumble, right? And rightfully so. That's your right as a reporter to say it. Even at the time, you're like, damn, he probably should have dived on it. But watching it, you like, man, diving head first and somebody else diving head first, you don't know. And he talks about how that affects him to this day. But my point being that these guys are so parallel in talent and skill set, and the fact that they've both been part of inept organizations, right? And they both gotten teams farther than any other player I feel like could have gotten them. I will admit this, I don't think it's another quarterback in the NFL that could have gotten the Buffalo Bills as far as Josh Allen did. Considering the incompetence of the organization, the pieces around him, sometimes some of the play calling and the decision making. I will give that. Same thing I said about Cam Newton. It's not another player that could have made the Carolina Panthers as relevant and as good at 15-1 like Cam Newton could have, right? But with that being said, here's where the hypocrisy lies. We acknowledge when Cam Newton plays bad, but the media has a problem acknowledging when he plays good. See, what pisses off unbiased people and black people who not scared to tell the truth is that when a black quarterback plays good, it's usually the coordinator, the receiver, the O-line, his defense, right? Chinese New Year, something, right? When a white quarterback plays good, it's him. All him. No James Cook, no defense, no secondary, no nothing. No running backs, no tight end, no Knox, no Kincaid. It's just all Josh Allen. He throwing himself the ball, he catching the ball, he blocking for himself, he calling the plays, he tackling people, he kicking the field goals. The Buffalo Bills, when Josh Allen win, when the Bills win, it's because of Josh Allen. When the Bills lose, it's because of everything else but Josh Allen. I've never in my life seen a quarterback have 5 turnovers and the media does everything they can to dive in front of the bus for him. I thought at one time Peyton Manning was the most beloved quarterback I've ever seen. But it's Josh Allen. Even Peyton Manning got criticized when he played bad. Not Josh Allen. It's not his fault. It is just not his fault. Did you see those tears, man? Something's got to be done. We got to change another rule, right? And the thing about it is the ludicrous nature of which his fans make excuses for him gets him unfairly criticized, right? And that's what I don't like for him, right? He ain't asked for none of this. He just playing football, right? And the people who like him, you ever seen somebody that is so over-exaggerated that they make you lean the other way? That's Josh Allen supporters, right? I'm talking about, and I love Dan Orlovsky. I think he makes great content, but when it comes to Josh Allen, he's obsessed. Albert Breer, he's obsessed. Chase Daniels literally said, forget about the turnovers. And then what's crazy is you can compare these excuse tweets for Josh Allen to the tweets they made about Lamar last year, and the hypocrisy is right there. It's less than a year old. So I think at some point, we got to stop treating Josh Allen like the Make-A-Wish kid, right? The people treat Josh Allen like, if you ever coach sports, right? Youth sports. And you've been good at coaching youth sports, right? Or even high school sports. And you ever played the team from the richest suburb in your area, right? I'm talking about the team where it's 3 or 4 Audis, you know what I mean? 3, 4 car garages. The average median home is $1 million. When you play those people, right? And every time you play them, you ever took some black kids from the ghetto to play some white kids from the suburbs, right? And the white people from the suburb, get him off of him. That's a foul. No, he's running, he's grabbing, he's holding. And then the white kid out there playing hockey, and they like, oh, come on, let him play. That's what we get with Josh Allen, right? You got to stop treating him like he's some disabled kid coming at the end of the game to make a basket and everybody clap. Like he's a professional athlete, a grown man, right? And I sympathize with him from losing the game, but he's never going to reach his potential as a player until reporters are honest about when he plays well and when he doesn't, right? And the Buffalo Bills, man. The Buffalo Bills are the Minnesota Vikings on Eastern Standard Time. Like, just the same amount of 0-4 Super Bowl losses, adequate coaches but never good enough coaches, really good quarterbacks but never great quarterbacks, and just living in a place where football means so much and you don't come through. That's my comparison. 0-4 in Super Bowls, just heartbreaking AFC Championship losses. Same with the Vikings in 98, just heartbreaking losses. And it's just fan bases like, at least Minnesota got the Twins and the Wolves, right? Like, you in Buffalo, you have nothing but 13 feet of snow and the Buffalo Bills. So I can understand the passion. But I promise you with all my heart, Josh Allen would be a better quarterback because of this, right? But you guys in the media, you white guys with the comb-overs, you white guys with the glasses, the beards, listen, make your content, right? But be realistic in how you talk about Josh Allen, the same way you talk about Lamar Jackson, the same way you talk about Jalen Hurts, the same way you talk about Daniel Jones. I don't give a shit. The same way you talk about Justin Herbert. Be fair in your criticism and take the emotion out of it, right? And what's crazy is the same reporters and podcasters, right, fanboys, who killed Miss Lynn Jones from Jacksonville for telling the Jags coach to keep his head up, are basically saying Josh Allen is treated so unfairly. So are you supposed to do this job with unemotional attachments or not, right? I'm confused about it because the rules change depending on who you like. And when it's Josh Allen, it's a different set of rules, right? I told you, he's the most, at least they would give Larry Bird credit for everything too. Oh, the floor is green, it's got to be Larry Bird. But at least Larry Bird had already won, right? Imagine Larry Bird and he had never gotten to the finals, right? That's what we got with Josh Allen, right? We know he's talented, right? We know he's phenomenal, right? But we got to admit that if a fourth grade football player did what he did at the end of the half, he'd probably get benched, right? It was reckless. It was careless. He was holding the ball. He was throwing the ball around. Some of the interceptions was reckless. He was put in position to win the game. I don't want to hear about the penalties, man. Penalties are part of the game. Take away one interception and one fumble, the Bills win that game easily. Make the throw to Knox. Don't skip the ball. Don't shortstop the ball to the Shakir. That's a touchdown. You win the game. You win the AFC Championship next week, probably hosting the game because I think Houston is going to beat New England. So I just want fans to appreciate Josh Allen and stop babying him, right? I think it's almost time, and I want to hear from Bills fans on this. Is it time for organizational change in Buffalo, and where, right? Because I don't think McDermott is a bad coach. I think they've had some heartbreaking losses, but I don't think he's a bad coach. Especially his defensive backs are phenomenal. They fly to the ball. They tackle well, right? His teams are competitive, right? They were down a few wide receivers. So where should the changes come? And what changes would you like to see with the Buffalo Bills? I'm very curious about that, right? Because moving forward, getting the opportunity to win a Super Bowl is a very, very small and fleeting window, right? Sometimes you think you can always get back, and sometimes you don't. So I like to hear from football fans and Bills fans, what changes, if any, are necessary? Draft-wise, should they go for a number one receiver, stud receiver? Should they hit the market for a couple of stud receivers? What do the Bills need, right, to satisfy those who feel like Josh Allen doesn't have enough, right? Because you can't say he does everything, and when he wins, he does it all. He's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play the position. Which, if you say that about Josh Allen, you should have said that about Cam Newton, right? But what else does he need to satisfy you? The Colin Cowards of the world. What does Josh Allen need to satisfy you to stop your whining? And that's what I like to know. I think whoever wins this New England Houston Texans game is going to the Super Bowl. Shout out Bo Nix. That was a phenomenal throw at the end of the game. Congratulations to the Denver Broncos. Congratulations to the fans, organization. But y'all gonna lose next week to whoever win this game, right? Easily. I don't care if it's Houston or New England. I think Houston wins, and I think the game is in Denver, right? But if New England win, it won't shock me. It's almost like a pick 'em to me. But I'm going to ride and I'm going to throw a little bread on Houston because I think Houston's going to win. I trust that defense. And I don't trust Drake May. His first playoff start is against a Houston defense. You might be in trouble, right? The Seattle Seahawks. That defense truly is the dark side, right? Seattle doesn't get the attention they deserve because they tucked away in Southeast Russia, Southwest Russia, whatever. They don't get the attention they deserve, right? But that defense is phenomenal, bro. Like, they fly to the ball, they hit hard, they talk, they long, they fast. They almost remind me of one of those. You remember when the Miami Hurricanes were super fast under Jimmy Johnson? And I remember somebody asking him, how is your defense so fast? And he said, I want my linemen faster than the other team's linebackers. I want my linebackers faster than the other team's DBs. And I want my DBs faster than the other team's wide receivers, right? And I always remember that. And just to see Seattle flying around is impressive. I think the Seattle Seahawks defense is so good, right, that you could take the top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL and they would be in the same position. And that's not a knock on Sam Darnold, but if it seems like a knock, it's just being honest. You can take 20 teams. It's 32 teams in the NFL. Remove the 12 teams with the worst record, right? Any other, well, let's say 21 teams counting Seattle, right? The other top 20 teams besides Seattle, right? So you remove the teams with the 11 worst records, right? Those other 20 quarterbacks can take the Seahawks to the Super Bowl, right? All you got to hit is hit Jackson Smith a jig a couple of times. Excuse me. Get that ball to Kenneth Walker and don't turn it over, right? This is a championship defense, right? This defense, to me, is faster than the Legion of Boom. The Legion of Boom was more powerful and deadly and violent a little bit, but this defense is violent, is almost as violent as faster. Like, if I could ask Richard Sherman, I would love to hear his comparisons between this defense and their defense from a guy who actually played in the NFL. I would love for him to break that down, right? So this Seattle defense is championship worthy. Shout out to San Francisco. They were injured. They were decimated by injuries all over the place. They were down in like they 6th, 7th linebackers. So I think it was a hell of a coaching job by Kyle Shanahan. But this Seattle defense, and at home, I see no way that whoever wins this Bears-Rams game goes up there to beat them. Even though the Rams played them good, I think the Rams have fallen off from around that hot stretch they were on when I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. It's something missing. I don't know if it's injuries. I don't know if it's fatigue. Something missing with the consistency. A lot of their coaches have been interviewing, and I know they said that's not distractions, but to me, it is a distraction, right? So I feel like the Seattle Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl, right? And I think they'll be playing the Chicago Bears next week. It'll be a good game. But I like Seattle. I like Chicago tonight over the Rams. I think the weather is going to affect the Rams. I think the cold is going to affect the Rams. A lot of people say, oh, it's cold. Man, listen, bro. I live in Las Vegas 6 months out the year, and I'm born and raised in the Midwest. And when I experience Midwest winters, I'm petrified. And I'm a Midwest kid, right? And I despise the cold. I couldn't imagine being from Southern California, even playing in Southern California. You could be from Chicago, you could be from Alaska. But if you've been in California 2 to 3 years, bro, your body has adjusted, your blood done thinned out. It is going to be cold as shit, bro. I'm telling you. So I don't see the Rams winning this game. Somehow, some kind of way, I see the Bears pulling off this game. I want to hear people's thoughts. Who do you like? What do you like? What's the keys to the game? I think the Bears defense is going to have to make a couple of plays. Puka Nacua will go wild on you guys. I know you guys ain't got away with it with Green Bay. I know you guys ain't got away with it a couple other times. But you got to find a way to contain Puka. He's the key to everything, right? He can't have one of them 12 catches for 136-yard games. It's going to blow a hole in your soul, right? So I'm looking for the Bears to find a way to win, but I got to see the flow of the game, right? Because you can't – the difference between the Rams and the Packers is that the Rams won't squander as many opportunities as the Packers, right? The Rams coaching staff is a little more efficient in making situational adjustments than the Packers. But with that being said, the Rams also just lost to Carolina, so you just flew across the country. Now you flew home. Now you flying back halfway across the country. That's a lot of wear and tear. That's why I'm going with the Bears. Between the momentum and I hate using his words, but it just feel like it's the Bears' destiny to at least go to the NFC Championship, right? So I'm looking forward to this game. I'm going to get off of here. My dinner's ready. The game starts at 3. I love y'all. This pod is coming out full pod. I appreciate y'all. Tap in. God bless. We out.